Good morning everyone. In the previous class we were discussing the point related to Coulomb's force between the charges in the vacuum, and then we stopped at the force between the charges kept in the dielectric medium. Charges Q1 and Q2 are supported by dielectric medium, or you must completely charges in the dielectric medium. There is no gap left between the charges with the air completely filled with the dielectric only we are discussing now. Incompletely filled also there, incompletely filled dielectric. If some air is also present, then that part is only for competitive exams, not for PU. We have discussed right now only the case when two charges are separated by dielectric completely, no gap in between the air. Then the force formula is given by F medium is equals to with medium is 1 by 4% to K. K extra additionally comes into Q1 Q2 by R square. This K is additionally coming. Other than K, this is nothing but equal to force in vacuum. Leaving this K, remaining force, if we can check out, this is nothing but the force between the charges in vacuum. So additionally, if you are taking this K, what happens here is this F medium is equal to this force between the charges in vacuum by K additionally comes. That means we can take the same relation as F vacuum. Approximately air also we given, vacuum and air nearly equivalent, not exact. Is equals to this force 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1 Q2 by R square modulus. This is the expression for force with the charges in vacuum. Comparing these two, we can take the relation as force in medium is nothing but equal to force in vacuum by K. This is required for numerical response. Where K is nothing but called as a dielectric constant. It is also represented with the symbol epsilon r, called as a relative permittivity. Relative means comparative. Permittivity, permission given for the medium for the electric force to act on the particular material, whatever it is, glass, plastic, etc. And this epsilon r relative means comparison. We are comparing this material rate permittivity with respect to vacuum. In vacuum, how much force can act? Compared to that, in medium, how much acts. So the comparison, if you are taking, that is called the relative permittivity. And it is also called as a K symbol generally. It is also called as dielectric constant. Both are same. Definition slightly variation we take for this, but both are same only. Values are same and everything is same we can take for the numerical purpose. So force in the medium is nothing but equal to force in the air or vacuum by K. If K value increases, force with the charges force are decreasing. K value increases means force with the charges are decreases because K is coming in the denominator of this. Force in vacuum will be always maximum. Force in with any medium will be less. For K values. Values of K is called dielectric constant. Dielectric means insulators. K value is 1, that is for vacuum. For vacuum, K equal to 1, that is minimum value. K value starts from 1 only. Okay, not 0. Less than 1 should not take 0.1, 0.2 more. 1 onwards only starts. 1 is for vacuum. Vacuum means no material. Not any physical charges. And here K is equal to 1.3059 is approximately taken as 1, but actually K is more than K value. Water K is equal to 80 is the maximum value. And you need to remember for the vacuum and approximately taken for the air. And also you will have to know for the metals or conductors. Any conductor you take, K is infinity. This value you must know this. Metal is not a dielectric. This is not a dielectric. You don't have to remember for water, but you need to know for the vacuum and air and also for the metals. Metals or any conductors, if we are taking physical charges, the force with the charges becomes what? K is infinity. Anything by infinity becomes equal to 0. That means if we keep a metal between the charges, the force with the charges becomes equal to 0. Metal may attract, that is another case. But charge attraction or repulsion will not be there if you introduce metal between the charges. As K value increases, the force with the charges decreases. And metal, if you say dielectric, they ask for the values of K also, means range they ask. If they ask for the what is the range of dielectrics, for K. You should not take infinity because the metals are not in directrix. Directrix means insulators. Insulators values start from 1 to less than infinity. That can be. But practically we get just 80 or plus 80 something materials, artificial materials or ionics or compounds. But water, if you take the water, K is 80. That's the maximum metal insulators. Okay, as the insulating property increases, the K value goes on increasing also. But metals are not insulators. K value is taken as an infinite because force is becoming equal to 0 with the charges. Coulomb force is central force. Coulomb force is central force. Central means the force acting on the line joining the center of the spherical bodies. So it's called the central force, which are charged bodies. The spherical charged bodies we have taken or point charges we have taken and take the line joining through the center to centers between Q1 and Q2. If they are positive charges, both the repulsion force, this force is this side, this force is also same. Equal and unlike forces acting along the line joining the centers of the charge particles. So it's called a central force. Central force means force acting along the line passing through the centers of the charges. Okay. And gravitational force, gravitational force is also central force. But nuclear force, inside the nucleus, we have the neutrons and protons. They are also spherical variable. And force, there is a force of attraction to the neutron, proton also. But this force is not a central force that acts outside the particles. Non-central. Nuclear force is not central, but this we have a separate topic for this. Right now we are going to discuss about this nuclear force. Coulomb force, it is also called the electrostatic force, is central force. Means force between charges act along the line passing through the centers of charged particles. Coulomb force is conservative. Coulomb force is conservative. Conservative force means conservative field, conservative force we are discussing here. Gravitational force is also conservative force. Means if you are doing any work to move the charge particle from one point to another point. In the mechanics, what you have is work is nothing but equal to force into displacement. Force into displacement. F dot S in the term of it. This S is not distance, it is a displacement. If you take one particle, move from one place to other place. Okay, you have to consider how much distance displacement, shortest distance. Even if it is traveling like this also, you have to consider only the shortest distance in the initial position and final positions. That is for the gravitational force, or in the case of the electrostatic force also. How we are moving the charge is not important. If you are doing the work to move the charge in the electric fields, and work done does not depend on the path forwards. Work done depends only on the shortest distance or displacement between the two positions of the particles. That means if I am taking the force calculations, if I am putting the charges here, these charges Q1 and Q2 might not taken in the different paths to position this. What is important finally, force does not depend on how they travel. It depends only on the shortest distance. So if you are keeping one fixed, another one if you are moving it, you are doing work here. Whatever work you are doing does not depend on the path you are moving this. It only depends on where it was initially, where it is finally. So the displacement only important but not the distance. Then we call that force is called as a conservative force. Corresponding field, we are going to discuss the later electric field, that's called the conservative field. Gravitational field and gravitational force, similarly electric fields and electric force, they are conservative. So force is conservative means what done by this force means electrostatic force depend only on the initial and final position of the charged particles. It depends only on the displacement but not the distance or length of the path. Coulomb force is called electrostatic force. Means Coulomb force depends only on the initial and final position of charged particles. You also say that water does not depend the distance traveled or length of the path traveled, it only depends on displacement. You can also say or one that depends only on displacement of charges, not on distance or length of travels. Coulomb force is conservative and means work done by electrostatic force means Coulomb force depend only on the initial and final positions. Initial and final position or positions of charged particles. Work done depends only on displacement of charges, but not on distance. Distance means length of the path travels. This is called then we call that the force as a conservative force. Nuclear force is not a conservative force. Friction force is not a conservative force. Okay, friction force is not conservative. Electrostatic force and direct force are conservative forces. Electrostatic force is one of the fundamental forces in nature. Coulomb force is one of the fundamental forces in nature. What are the fundamental forces we have? One is strong nuclear force. Next is weak nuclear force. Third one is electrostatic force. This itself is Coulomb force, and then we have gravitational force. The Coulomb force, the strong nuclear force, which is inside the nucleus with the neutron protons, and then weak nuclear force. Weak nuclear force is the beta particles, means neutron dividing into protons that leads to the weak nuclear force. And then electrostatic force, this is what we are discussing now, and gravitational force. Weakest force is gravitational force, strongest force is nuclear force, strong nuclear force inside the nucleus. Coulomb's law. Obey, or we can say inverse. Is inverse square. You can also call it as obeys inverse square also. Inverse square. Inverse square law means what? Force is inversely proportional to square of distance. Then it's called the inverse square law. Gravitational force is also inverse square law. Gravitational force depends on the masses. So if you take the two masses m1 and m2, separate by distance r, f is proportional to product of the masses, inversely proportional to square of distance. And electrostatic force is related to the charges. If we have two charges, then F is proportional to Q1, Q2 and inversely proportional to R square. So mass is replaced with the charges here. That the gravitational force depends on the masses, electrostatic force depends on the charges, but both are obeying the inverse square. Actually, Coulomb obtained this relationship using the experimental operators, which are also used by the Cavendish, and also the formula, which is the classical formula what is used by the Newton. Same copy he has taken for the charges also, and it finally result found to be same. Coulomb's law is inverse square, or obeys inverse square. F is inversely proportional to R square. And if R is doubled, F becomes equal to, double means 2R whole square vector. Force becomes equal to 1/4. Okay. If R is infinity, if R is tending to infinity, that means two charges are infinite separation you obtain. If infinite separation you obtain, means 1 by infinity becomes equal to 0. That means then F tends to 0. Whenever the separation is infinity, imagination that means the charge at the infinite distance means the force between the charges will be 0. What if R is 0, force is infinity, but practically it's not possible. Even if you take the two charged particles like electrons touching, the surfaces will touch because they have some size. So whenever the touching, we have touch the center to center. Distance need to be measured from center to center. So always there will be a distance from center to center. That means R will never be 0. Due to that reason, R will never be 0, then F will never be infinity. If R becomes 0, 1 by 0 is infinity. Force will never become equal to infinity. Always force will be some finite value, but not infinity, not 0. 0 is possible only when the distance is theoretically infinite. Same condition is for the gradient force. Gradient force will never be infinity even if the objects are touching, because R will be there always from center to centers. Coulomb's law in vector form. This will be asked for 2 marks question, an important question. Coulomb's law in vector form. You take two charged particles, Q1 and Q2. I am taking these two charged particles as positive, are both negative, means repulsion. For example, force acting on Q1 is F12, force acting on Q2 is F21. And this is the origin. Somewhere you take origin. This is the origin. The position vector of Q1 from with respect to origin is R1 R2, and position vector of Q2 from origin with respect to origin 2 is R2. The displacement or distance between the two charges will be taken as equals to delta R bar in vector form. R1 in vector form if you take triangle of addition of vectors. We are taking the displacement from Q1 to Q2 like this you are taking the order. So this delta R I am taking like this. According to the triangle of addition of vectors, if two vectors of the triangle are in the same order, third side taking the reverse order will be the resultant. Okay, we think that this is R1, this is delta, this right side, same order. Then R1 plus delta is supposed to be equal to the resultant R2 bar, final displacement. So I want delta R bar is nothing but equal to R2 minus R1. This is taken as a R21. So this delta R bar can also be written as R21, which is equals to R2 minus R1. Is the displacement between these two. Previously we had taken R1 as a distance between two charged particles. Now we are taking it as a R21. This is the vector form, right? And we are taking the repulsion. Repulsion means what are the charges here? We are taking the charges as let's for referring to the diagram. Let Q1 Q2 is greater than 0. Means what you are finding is repulsion force. Force is repulsion. Force act on both the charged particles. Next we take a F12. Force on Q1 because of Q2. So points under this. Force on Q1 due to Q2 is F12 is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1 Q2 by distance square. The distance is magnitude. If you take up, this becomes equal to R21 square. Okay, I want to put the values, that becomes equal to magnitude R21 square and multiply. I want vector. In the equation left side is vector means right side also need to be vector. This is chances are scalars. Scalar. This is also scalar only. Magnitude I am taking. So this should be vector means right side I have to take a vector. To convert scalar into vector, you have to multiply with the unit vector. Unit vector is a vector of one magnitude in a given direction. So I will take it as a R21 cap. Here R21 means same R21. Here also, so 1 minute. 1 to no. The displacement from here to here is F1 to take it as a 1 inch. Let us say, then force on Q2 is F2 by 1 becomes equal to R2. I will take the other one also later next step. So force on Q2 because of Q1, that is F21 first. F21 was equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 by R21 square into R21 cap. This is a unit vector. Unit vector in this direction. Okay, R21. What is unit vector? We can how we get unit vector? If you want to get unit vector, divide the vector into its own magnitude. So getting it as where unit vector R21 cap is nothing but equal to R21 bar by R21 magnitude. Vector by its magnitude. Magnitude also we can write. So with modulus also. Like this you can also write. Like this also you can write. Or without bar also you can write. R21 is unit vector. This is a force on second charge Q2 by Q1. Same thing if I want to take a force on Q1 by Q2. And how do I take this?